Our next speaker may be familiar because he's been a previous speaker at AENC events. He's also the lead facilitator for the Association Executive Master Business Academy, also known as the AEMBA. That's a lot to say. Jeremy leads the team at Goalmakers, a company that partners with associations, including many of the AENC members, to provide turnkey, white-labeled business education solutions for their members. Simplifying people management, organizational leadership, and business finances into fully customized programs for associations is what Goalmakers does best. In addition, Jeremy is a frequent speaker for associations on these topics and can customize their content for your industry's needs. Please welcome Jeremy Wall. Come on, Jeremy.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, everybody. My name is Jeremy Wall. As mentioned, the company name is Goalmakers. Today's session is about goal setting, so we're going to kick it off a bit on the nose. What are our goals for today? This is a question that we ask everyone that we work with to ask themselves before every meeting, to discuss with their teams in planning sessions. If our time is successful, what are we going to accomplish? Today, we have 3 in the next 8 minutes, which seems ambitious, but we'll do our best. First is a little bit of background on myself, and more importantly, why I'm so passionate about what I get to do every single day. Second is why. The importance of goal setting is so real, and how it can create well-balanced organizations through 3 types of fundamental goals. And then the third part is how. Most importantly is the takeaways, the tools, tips, tricks, and ways you can measure and manage this in real time back at your organization on Monday. So, as I mentioned, starting off with who am I know there's a couple of familiar faces in the audience, so it's good to see y'all again. But for those who don't know me, my name's Jeremy, as mentioned. I'm the CEO of Goalmakers, lead facilitator for the AEMBA. But we're going to back up a little bit further. Prior to Goalmakers, I had a company called Luminous. Luminous created the world's smartest bike light. It was an incredible adventure. I spent about 8.5 years of my life building this company that actually started as my senior thesis at the NC State College of Textiles. And I promise I didn't write this title myself. It is clickbait written by an editor, but I don't hate it. And so we started off with some fantastic press. It was an incredible adventure, and especially at this time being 23 years old, to have this type of title and press around us was really exciting. And that led to us building our first 3,000 units of the IO light, Luminous's product. And we got some reviews back. Got this for my dad as a birthday gift. He loves it. Record scratch. That's not the whole story. Got this for my dad as a birthday gift. He loves it. In theory, if it worked. I have to use this voice. It makes me feel better. As it stands, it's good for only one bike ride. The light doesn't turn off. The app's completely broken. Now he can't even sign into the app. Totally busted. Will likely have to return, which is sad because in theory it's promising. Too bad it doesn't work in reality. 2 people found that helpful. And the reality is that I had a product development degree from NC State, from the Fashion Textile Management School, and started a company that manufactured lights across the world, had software, hardware, firmware, but I didn't have business acumen. And so my why I do what I do, after 8.5 years of building Luminous, it was sold for pennies on the dollar by the shareholders who wanted to just see whatever they could return for that and move on. But that was my life that I had built. And so that piece of Luminous was really exciting, but at the same time, it's my why because now I want to bring business education to others, specifically enlightening, engaging, and accessible business education. Oftentimes, people think that the next step in their career has to be an MBA or the higher education degree. But one of the best things about the association world is that it creates professional development and continuing education for your industry. And so that's what we do. We help train both the current and future leaders of your industry together in these programs. And we start with one fundamental piece, and that's goal setting. And that's where we're going to focus today, because the definition of success, or at least one version of that, is the achievement of your goals. And so, as goal makers, we often get this question, okay, all right, goal guys, what should my goals be? We can't give you that answer up front, but we can break that down into 3 types of goals that are a great place to start. The first of which is a financial goal, backing that up to profitability. Are you making enough money? The second is a customer goal. Specifically, do you have satisfied customers, not making more of them? And then the third being some type of employee goal. Are our employees engaged in the work that they do? Are they collectively moving us towards a shared vision of the future? And so these are the three types of goals we're going to discuss today, focusing on different ways to measure and manage these. First up is the financial goal, which seems obvious, but oftentimes most companies and small businesses in particular don't have a fundamental financial goal that they're moving towards. And our biggest push here is not to measure top-line growth or revenue, it's profitability. Bottom line success, not top-line growth, because if you're just on the team, if you're not on the sales team, you're cheering on the sales team. Go, make more sales, grow revenue. But everyone can contribute to bottom line success. And whether that comes through the factor of dollars, measuring net profit in 300, 300,000, 300 million, depends on the size of your organization, but what's the dollar figure we're all moving towards? Or alternatively, for organizations that don't feel comfortable sharing their books openly, can that be a net margin? What's our percentage of profitability we want to reinvest? You don't have to share your open books to still share a number that we're all moving towards. Alternatively, at a department level or at a smaller piece of the company, these different smaller metrics are improving cash flows through inventory management or managing our accounts receivable, looking at our income statement. How can we improve our gross profit or focus on lowering overhead expenses? Alternatively, looking at the balance sheet, financial ratios, or industry benchmarks. How do we keep up with the industry and understand what we can do to match what's plausible? But net profit and profitability or financial goals cannot be independent because net profit creates success this year, happy customers create success next year. And so when we talk about a customer goal, again, it's not about finding more customers, it's about focusing on, are they satisfied with what you're doing? Whether it's your product or service, are they satisfied? And so in that process, the best way to find that out is to simply ask them. And when we encourage our teams to ask questions to their customers, we have two fundamental guidelines. First, make it as short as possible. And then the second, use overarching questions. And the one that we love, our favorite type of customer survey is maybe familiar, but it's also known as the ultimate question, also known as the Net Promoter Score developed by Fred Reichhold. And it may look familiar. On a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend us to a peer or colleague? This is a simple way to measure customer satisfaction. But it's also a very interesting way to not just benchmark yourself year over year, but how do you start a conversation with these customers, clients, partners? If they give you a 9 or 10, they've said, yes, I would definitely recommend you to a friend or colleague. Ask for that review. Ask for the 5 stars. Ask for a testimonial. Will you actually introduce me to someone in your network or your neighbor? The flip side of that is this conversation starter works for the detractors as well. Almost more important to speak with them, because where have you missed the mark? They'll happily tell you most of the time. Use that data to fix what you're doing. And this is a way to track this internally. But it also can turn a detractor into a lifelong customer simply by asking. And it's important to note that Net Promoter Score completely varies by industry. And in this world, we have very different industries represented. In a department or specialty store, you're looking at 70s and above. If you're the cable company, you're happy to get a positive score above 0. And so, as we talk about the customer goal, the last piece is, how do you bring that all together with the team that makes it happen? Your employee goal. And an employee goal, most importantly, is a way for leadership and management to be held accountable to the success of their employees, to their employee happiness and satisfaction. But we use one very specific term, and that word is engagement. And there's one way that we've loved to measure this with teams. Again, these are 3 fundamental types of goals with ways you can start, but there's other ways to approach. Our favorite is the Gallup Q12, because it allows you to measure, and if you may be surprised by the statistic, maybe you're not. 70% of employees are unengaged in their work within a single year of being hired. So by measuring this, you're able to track. And so here's 12 simple questions that you can ask your team. This takes less than 5 minutes. You can do it once a year or quarterly. But it goes everything from, I know what's expected of me at work as a basic need. Spoiler alert, goal setting is a great way to do that. All the way up to, in the last year, I've had opportunities at work to learn and grow, and everything in between. But the reason that this is an important 12 is that this is what it might look like. And so if you have a dashboard or you're asking these questions, you can look, well, across the entire company, where are we missing the mark? I have the equipment and materials I know that I need to do my work best. That's something that you as a manager can change within the next 30 days. In fact, 11 of these 12, the only one you can't change is I have a best friend at work, is something you can make impact in within the next 30 days simply by asking the question. And so as you look at this, the most important piece is not only is that better companies are in that upper quartile, but they have less turnover, less product defects, less safety incidents, and it plays back into this whole loop here, higher profitability because they have engaged employees. And so this all comes together, and my biggest takeaway for today is that all three complement each other. A good net profit allows you to reinvest in your business, pay everyone a salary, and make sure you have your daily operations covered. Happy customers make sure you have success next year and can continue to reinvest in having a great organization. But most importantly, the culture and the team at the end of the day. Your culture is based on 12 simple questions that if you're not asking, you can't move the needle. So I appreciate the opportunity to be on stage today to join these incredible speakers. I would love to connect further, but thank you so much for your time.